Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And today I thought I would get on here and I would read a few meditations. I actually have 4 books picked. Something just fell off one of the books. I don't know that I'm going to get to all 4 of them, but when I was going through here, I just kind of skimmed them. I haven't read them. I really liked kind of the theme of each one of them, so I thought, let's just pick 4 books and let's see what we get to today. I know that a lot of you are stuck at home. I talked about that yesterday. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying healthy. It's just a way to kind of help each other out, maybe in the comment section below. And I know I don't get tons and tons of views on this channel, but I feel like the people that watch this are pretty consistent. Just to kind of help each other out. Maybe, I don't know, suggest a way that, something that you're doing at home to kind of help you stay positive and, you know, keep you going while you're at home. Something that you're doing, whether it's watching a Netflix show that you just are really enjoying watching, or if you're, I don't know, got coloring books or planting your garden. I started thinking last night that I think I want to do a garden this spring, you know? Or if you're writing a book, or if you're watching YouTube videos, maybe recommend some, you know, positive YouTube videos in the comment section below. But maybe share with each other some things that you're doing to kind of keep your mental spirits up. I think that would be a great way for us to share with one another and help. So put that in the comment section below, and I will definitely be reading that, and maybe you guys will be giving me some ideas as well. So, okay, let's get into the meditations. The first one I'm going to read from is Nightlight by Amy Dean, and it is March 18th. I cannot give you the formula for success, but I can give you the formula for failure. Try to please everybody. Herbert Baynard Swope. I feel like I did this one last year. Like, this one sounds familiar. Herbert Baynard Swope. Principles are rules or codes of conduct we set for ourselves, like being honest, striving to be on time, and taking responsibility for bills and expensive. Everything's expensive right now, isn't it? And expenses. It is up to us to abide by these principles. When we compromise a principle for someone else's benefit, we jeopardize the strength of that principle and its importance to us. If we want to be honest, then lying to cover up another's actions compromises that principle. If we want to be on time and someone makes demands that cause us to arrive late, we have compromised ourselves and let someone else's desire dominate. We need to set certain standards for ourselves and abide by them, even if another person will not be pleased. To let principles triumph over the demands and desires of another is victory for our inner peace. If we are true to... Let me read that again, I like that. To let principles triumph over the demands and desires of another is a victory for our inner peace. If we are true to ourselves, we will learn we can count on ourselves no matter what. Is anyone making demands upon my principles? Help me be true to myself and not make compromises I will regret. Not make compromises I will regret. I really like that meditation, and I like the whole idea of talking about principles and characteristics, and well, not characteristics, but character traits, being a person of character. And it's something I didn't think about for a long time. You know, I think that, I mean, in all honesty, I just didn't. And I think that, you know, in recovery, we talk a lot about the ideas of being, you know, honest, open-minded, you know, willing. We talk about, you know, the importance of taking ownership over one's actions, making amends for people, you know, being a better person. But I think, like, if I had made a list of, like, all of the things I wanted to be in my life, right, years and years ago, you know, it would be, like, in the best shape of my life, or to have written a book, or to do this, to do that. But I don't know on there that it would be, like, somebody that was, I don't know, like, had really this good principle or held firm to their principles or whatever, right? Today, that is something that is really important to me. You know, and I think that I've had to learn from my past mistakes and going through things to really, you know, learn about the importance of principles. I feel like I'm blessed in my life to have several people around me that do not forego their principles no matter what. And, you know, I've seen them stand firm to their principles in certain situations where it would be easier and probably more popular to go, you know, against their principles and not stand firm to what is true. But I think that it's important to stick to what we believe in. You know, I've talked about this movie on here a lot, and it's called The Contender. If you've never seen it before, it's about this woman that's up for Supreme Court justice, and some stuff comes out about her, and she never really addresses it. And at the end of the movie, it comes out that she didn't do anything. She had nothing to do with these allegations. Like, they weren't true whatsoever. And the president, who's played by, I think, Jeff Bridges in the movie, I'm almost positive it's Jeff Bridges. He says to her, he says, why didn't you, ever say that there was no truth to it? They were like these pictures that were like faked or doctored. And she said, it was never theirs to ask. And then she said, and it's one of my favorite quotes of life, she said, principles only mean something if you stick to them when they're inconvenient. And I think sometimes that even means with our friends, like, and our family members, to stick to our principles. And I've had certain situations where, like, even just like friends or family members of mine, they'll like, make a joke about something, whether it's like, like in the past, it doesn't really happen anymore. And I'm somebody that is able to laugh at the world, but also take myself seriously too, because I think it's important, but not take myself too seriously. I think it's a balancing act that we all kind of do, But I've had family members and friends make inappropriate jokes, sexuality and things like that, or, other things that I just don't think are funny. And, I said to them, like, that's not funny to me, that's not funny, and I don't, whatever. And through the years, I've had people say that to me too. It's been a learning experience, where I realize, oh, okay, like, I get it. Like, that's, whatever. And, I think even in just learning sometimes the language that we use, like words that we maybe had no idea were inappropriate, and then we learn and we don't repeat it. It's like what Oprah says, when you know better, you do better. And I believe that statement. And I believe that principles are not something that you just say, like, I'm a humble person, or I'm this person, or I'm, whatever. It's like you have to work on them. It takes time. Like, not any of us turns over tomorrow and we are this, like, fantastic human being. It takes work for us, But I think maybe to sit down and say, what areas do I want to work on? I've, like, made a real effort to be more on time about things. And that's been something that I've really worked hard on in the last year, and I'm better at now. I was like, the other day, I went to go pick up my friend Tanya, and she said to me, like, and it's not just me, like, there's a lot of people in her life, because she'll say to me, like, I feel like people always, like, are, 10 or 15 minutes late when, they come to pick me up, or we're going to do something or whatever. This was like, I don't know how long ago she said this to me. But anyway, and she knew I was really working hard on it, and I was, like, showing up, still at that point, like, 3 or 4 minutes late, right? And she said, it just makes me feel like I wish I was, important enough to show up on time for. And that was such, like, a valid statement to make, And the other day, I have gotten it down to where I'm like, the other day I was there and I was like right on time, and I was like, she got in the car and she didn't say anything. I said, I'm on time today. She started laughing. She said, you're so cute. But like, I really have been working on that, because I think that it's important. And I had somebody say to me years and years ago, my being on time used to be like this horrible, horrible issue. It's not that bad anymore. But somebody said to me, when you show up late, or when somebody is late, what it says is that your time is more important than mine. And she's like, and that hurts, And I believe that statement. And I think that sometimes when we have a principle presented to us that we need to work on and we refuse to do that, it's like thinking that we're better than everybody else. And I'm no better than anybody else. And I think most of us know that we're not better than anybody else. And we just have these things that we need to work on, So that's a great meditation for me. And I think I need to sit down maybe and reevaluate and say, okay, like, what principles do I want to work on right now going forward? Like, that's something that I haven't done recently, I've set some goals recently, but not that. I think that's actually a really good activity to kind of sit down and say, okay, in the next 6 months, what are these goals? When I was doing my character defects, when I, like the first time that I ever worked my steps, one of the things that you actually do is you work on your character defects and you list what your character defects are, right? And then you do the opposite is what I was always taught. So, like, if you're impatient, then like if you're at the, let's say if you're at the gas station getting a candy bar or a Coke, you let 3 people go in front of you, or like, my old sponsor did back in the day, made me stand outside and open the door until 3 people had gone through the grocery store. And I'm like, well, what if it takes a half an hour? And he goes, well, then you wait there for a half an hour. Your time's not precious. You'll learn to be patient, And it was through things like that, and that everything, like being like, kind of cleaning up as you go, as I joke about on my review channel, but like, I used to have to put up like grocery carts. He'd say, go to Walmart and put up some grocery carts today. I'd be like, excuse me? And he'd be like, no, it's good for you. It's, service to put back and do those things. And I still think about that. Like, if I take, like a can, like if I'm at the grocery store and I take a can and then I get to the end of the grocery store and I realize I don't want it, I will go all the way back and put it back where I found it, because it's the right thing to do. And like, I'm not gonna say that I'm this perfect person. I'm not. I don't always do that, And there are times that I'm like, I'll do something else, be like, oh, like I really need to work on that still. And I think it's not just working on the thing. I think it's the awareness too of what do we need to work on to be better versions of ourselves. Every day that we wake up is an opportunity to be a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday, right? Like, we're none of us perfect examples. And I think that once we can admit that and be like, you know what, we are faulty human beings that are going to continue to make mistakes. Like when I was reading the book, or when we were reading the book, Make Your Bed, for those of you that read it, he said in there, mistakes make leaders. But you have to be willing to learn from your mistakes, and you have to be open-minded to it. Not just say, like, I'm sorry, and just, push it off, but to actually look, what was that mistake that I made? And I don't want to repeat it. And what do I need to do to not repeat that again? So I think taking a look at our character traits and our principles is always a good thing. All right, let's read another one. Okay, trusting my inner voice. And this is from Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On by T.N. Dayton, PhD. Powerful inspiration for personal change. Trusting my inner voice. Oh, this is March 15th. I guess I'll go to March 18th then. I have no idea what that's going to be. Affirmations. Oh, this would be a good one. March 18th. Today I will think of one thing about myself that I would like to change or see growth in. This is so weird. I didn't even know because I was on March 15th. And I will make my own affirmation. It may be, I am grateful for my beautiful and healthy body. I manage my affairs with confidence and competence, or anything else that fits for me. All that I need to do is repeat it to myself and accept it as true for me. I let my unconscious do the rest. The unconscious is a marvelous thing. It is always busy recreating what it believes to be true. I have witnessed often enough how my unconscious continually reproduces my deepest fears and anxieties in my life. Today, I use this power consciously and for my betterment. I send positive messages to my unconscious and trust the process. Sink in thyself. There ask what ails thee at that shrine. Matthew Arnold. Interesting meditation. If you watch my vlog, at the end of it, I always do daily affirmations if you make it that far. And, I always say every day, look at yourself in the mirror and do your positive daily affirmations and say to yourself, and I say all these things. And the last one that I always finish it with is, two things. Well, I say that today, 2020 is going to be a great year, which is fine. But like every day that I get up, I always say to myself, I really say this to myself. I say, today is going to be a great day. It's going to be full of opportunities. It's going to be full of, laughter. You're going to be happy, joyous, and free today. And you can start your day over whenever you want. And those are kind of like, I set those rules for myself. It's like if you're, going into work and they say, today we're going to do this. It's like, I say that to myself so that if I ever get off track, I remind myself, like, don't forget, like, today's going to be an amazing day, right? Unless you have other plans. I say that at the end of my thing, too, because a friend of mine in sobriety, whenever she sees me, which I don't see her as much as I used to, but she always says to me, we see each other and we give each other a hug, and how you doing, whatever. And then as we parted ways, she'd say, now, have an amazing day unless you have other plans. And I know that's confusing to some people, but what that means is, like, it's up to you how your day goes. Like, horrible things are going to happen to us. Tragedy is going to happen to us. How we respond to that is our choice. And so she always says, have an amazing day unless you have other plans. And that means, like, if you want your day to go crappy, that's up to you. You can plan for it to be that way, or you can plan to have an amazing day. Like, how are you going to respond to that? And I have seen some people in my life, I have witnessed I've been through a lot of crap, right? But not even nearly anywhere on the scale of what some people have gone through. One of my friends that passed away recently, she was, had breast cancer. I think about her, it's like every single time I saw her, she just was so full of hope. She never gave up, And she always was excited about something, whether it was some new coat that she bought. She loved to shop, Whether it was some new coat that she bought or, some perfume that she was trying out that, she just always was hopeful about stuff. And she loved to put, every spring, her favorite thing was to put her backyard together, and get all of her plants out and she, all that kind of stuff. And she always was just so hopeful about everything. And, I think about that, and she would just have these peaceful moments, and, I just get like a random text from her, and she would just say, in the middle of all of her stuff, she would just say, hey, I was just thinking of you today, and I think about that a lot. I think about how, she was so unselfish with her time and her caring, She made her life about others as well. And she was just always, I remember going, when I went to her, like, viewing, it was packed. It was so many people. And, she lit a spark in everybody's life, and she just was fantastic. And I think, we got to send positive messages out there to, you know, all kinds of people. So do your positive affirmations today. Decide what kind of day you want to have. Yeah, some of the people that have been through the worst things in their entire life are people to me that you would never know it, because every day they get up and they're just like, they keep on putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and they try to enjoy life, and they realize, you know, I'm here but for a moment. So we have to remember that. All right, one more meditation, and then we will close. I'm not going to read the Healing After Loss today. I will read A Time to Be Free, Daily Meditations for Enhancing Self-Esteem by the author of Day at a Time and a New Day. Okay, March 18th. I knew one of these books, that's why it's funny when that one came up, because this is affirmation. Should we read it anyway, though? That's apropos. Affirmation apropos. I affirm that I am entitled to happiness. There is nothing about me, either inherently or by virtue of past misdeeds, that makes me undeserving. Okay, I want to read this. This is really, really important. Listen to what it said. I affirm that I am entitled to happiness. There is nothing about me, either inherently or by virtue of past misdeeds, that makes me undeserving. I invite and welcome happiness into my life today. And what that means and why that's so important is that I think that so many of us continue to punish ourselves for things that happened a long time ago, you know? And we continue to do it over and over and over and over again. We never think that we're worthy of any kind of happiness, right? In the past, I tended to take myself extremely seriously, seeing everything as either black or white. These days, I try to be easygoing and sensitive to the humor and ironies that color the world around me. The source of true and lasting happiness is within myself. I will go directly to that place today. If I become unhappy, I will try to uncover the causes of my discontent. Chances are, I'll find them within as well. If I become unhappy, it will probably be because I'm not getting my own way, because I've chosen a negative attitude, or because my expectations have run amok. If I become unhappy, it will probably be because I'm not getting my own way. And isn't that so true? Like, how many of us get, I was going to say, you know, the P word, PO'd, because we don't get our way. Like, even as grown adults, we're like, well, this didn't go my way, or that didn't go my way. Get over it. Life is not, most of life doesn't go our way. And I don't even know that sometimes I wish it had. Like, you know, when I look at my life, I think sometimes the greatest lessons I ever learned is when life didn't go my way. That word, amok. What was that show? Is that a Hocus Pocus where she goes, amok, amok, amok? My happiness is no longer contingent on the actions or attitudes of others. Amen. Today, I'm responsible for my own happiness. It's up to me to discover and build upon that states of mind and activities that bring wonder and joy into my life. Thought for today, I am deserving of happiness, as are all of God's children. Now, this is going to go a little bit long, but I'm going to share a story on here. It says, my happiness is no longer contingent on the actions or attitudes of others. Today, I am responsible for my own happiness. It's up to me to discover and build upon the states of mind and activities that bring wonder and joy into my life. So I don't know when the last time I told this story on, but it's on here, but it's been a long time. So I was actually sitting in this very room over here. It looks a lot different than it did then. We had a couch over there and carpet, and my mom and I would sit in front of the fireplace, and that chair was still in the corner over there. But we would sit there and we would drink coffee. And I would come over to my mom's house several times a week. And this was when I was in my, getting my master's degree. And I was in a relationship. I was living with my boyfriend at the time. I had a roommate who was my best friend, who I never saw either one of them because I was so busy between working 50 hours plus a week and getting my master's degree. I was in 15 hours of classes, and I had a full-time internship. I was busy. I was tired. And my mom would call me all the time, and she'd say, I never see you. I never feel like I see you, and whatever, right? And so I would come over here on the way home from work or school, you know, and I would sit down and I would have a cup of coffee with her, and I was just exhausted, and I just didn't even have hardly any time for myself. And I remember I was sitting here one night, and my mom said something to me, and she was talking about, like, not being very happy or whatever. And I looked at her, and it just kind of came out. I have absolutely no idea how it came out. I don't even really remember it real well, but I remember the sentiment. And I looked at her, and I said, I'm not responsible for your happiness. And I was like, what did I just say? Now, I will tell you, I've shared this story with other people that have then said it to their parents or whatever, and it did not go the same way. But I'm thankful that with my mom it did go the way that it did. And she goes, what did you just say to me? And I looked at her and I said, I'm not responsible for your happiness. And she kind of paused for a second. She said, do I make you feel that way? And I said, oh yeah. Like, you make me feel like if I'm not over here, like you're not a happy person. Because she relied so much upon me, and like so much of her life was about me, you know? And she said, I don't ever want to make you feel like you're responsible for my happiness, or something to that effect. And, but it was this pivotal moment in my life that I actually standing up for myself is the wrong word, but that, I don't know, I don't think she realized what she was saying by these guilt tripping things that she was putting on me. And I kind of was done at that point. And going forward was when my mom and I really started enjoying each other's lives, because she knew that when I was here, it was because I wanted to be here. It's another valuable lesson I learned from my best friend. For years I would ask her to do stuff and she'd say, oh no, I think I'm just going to stay home with my husband tonight or whatever. It's math night with her son or whatever. And so she wouldn't do stuff, right? And over time, my feelings kind of got hurt. And so then one time, this was a couple years ago, I said to her, this is probably 10 years ago, whatever. She said, you never invite me to do any stuff anymore. And I said, because you never go, right? And she said, well, could you ask me just so I have the opportunity to say yes or no, but I just like being asked. I totally get that today. I just want to be asked, right? That means so much to me, that I'm important enough just to be asked. Let me say no if I want to say no. It doesn't matter why, right? But what I realized over time was that she didn't always go, but when she was there because she wanted to be there, right? She was participating in whatever we were doing because she wanted to be there. And I thought that was such, this important, lesson that I learned, that she didn't have to come to everything, and I would rather have her come to those things that she wanted to be at instead of just always showing up to everything because she felt like it was her responsibility or duty to be there as my friend. That's just crap, right? She came because she wanted to in those moments. And I knew then going forward that if she's sitting next to me in a car, it's because she wants to be there. And that's a pretty powerful thing, How many times have you felt that people are around there because you felt like you were a burden, or because somebody just came along because they felt like they had to? I don't want to be surrounded by yes men, and I don't want to be surrounded by people that are there because not because they want to, but because they feel like they need to be there. I don't want those people in my life. I want people that choose me, because that's important, because I choose them, So anyway, let me know what you think about those meditations in the comment section below. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.